Hello everybody. So as I'm getting prepped to do this video, it's so funny. I have Anton with me and he's getting like really excited to talk with you guys. He's been wanting to come in for a while, as they all do. They all like to come in, when I'm available. But today, like, I have this sense of like anticipation. And earlier he was teasing me. He says, yeah, I was teasing Kim about the team getting together, what people would consider last night. And he's saying there were rumors going around that, and if this happens, I'm not going to be happy. There were rumors that Paul was going to try to do a conversation about twin flames. And if anybody has watched or read my work about twin flames, they will really know right away when I say that friggin' I get like, I don't want to talk about that. Like, I'm just not interested. And Anton's laughing right now and he's like, get interested, because apparently it came up last night. He's saying it came up last night that Paul is going traveling after a certain message that we got from a very beautiful lady. And he's like, he got a little bit, Anton's saying he got a little bit, this is coming up, then this, there's something going on. And so he did a little bit of traveling, he said, and there's a lot of this kind of topic coming up again. So he says, don't be surprised if Paul pushes you to do a conversation about twin flame energies coming on board soon. And he's saying that he really actually wanted to talk about the James Webb Telescope that has been producing a lot of really cool images. He's saying that when he first looked at the images from the James Webb Telescope, and I'm getting really excited. He's like putting butterflies in my belly. It's really cool. And disclaimer, if I look tired today, it's because I am. I've had some, Anthony Bourdain in the last video was talking about back pain and stuff coming up. And holy shit, you guys, I have been massage and chiropractor twice a week. The pain has been so intense in my back that it makes me literally just want to like break down and cry. And the full moon energy has got me like completely spacey. So apologies beforehand. I'm going to try to channel a very excited Anton in some sort of form that makes sense. But if I'm just like going on and on and on, it's because I'm kind of having difficulty focusing today. But Anton is not taking no for an answer. And, I had a message that if I start going down procrastinating again, it's going to go down that tunnel of, shadow work that I have to do. And nobody likes that. So that's my disclaimer, apart from the intro with the whole twin flame thing. So he's saying that, okay, Kim, let me talk. He's saying that, and my light is here, so apologies for that too. He's saying that the images from the James Webb Telescope is literally like he's looking out the window where he works with Simon, and that's the kind of stuff that he sees. He says he's more than able to look and see deeper into that. But it's like if you were going to go, he's like, if you were going to go on a spaceship and look out the window, the quality of those images that this telescope is getting is basically like pretty on par to what somebody would see with the naked physical eye if they were looking out the window with this, if they were looking out the window of the spaceship. He's saying what's cool about the technological advances that are happening with these telescopes. I'm going to get straight to the point. He says these telescopes are going to start proving that life exists on other planets. He's saying that, you know, you've all seen the UFO stuff on the conspiracy shows. You've all seen, you know, the silver discs. You've all seen that. He's like, but wouldn't it be cool to actually see that kind of thing being captured by this, specifically the James Webb Telescope? And he's saying, if you know, he's saying, like, let's say they take a snapshot, and in that snapshot isn't just a silver disc. It's actually proving, you know, there's more to the silver discs that meet the eye. You know, it can reach as far into, you know, planets. And he's saying this is a step above what the telescope is showing now, but it could actually see into planets. He's showing me a picture of like people walking around on different planets. Anton's saying that the James Webb Telescope is and I hope I'm getting that name right, is the first step to seeing what people would see from space when they look down at like a country and they see like the lights of the city lit up from space. He says that is the direction that this stuff is going to. He's talking really fast. This is the kind of stuff that he gets really, really excited about, especially since when he lived, he tried to think outside of the box. He really did try to think outside of what was the norm. He says, especially with people, he liked to get in there into the places, into the spaces where it was kind of undercover, so people felt more comfortable about showing different aspects of themselves in a way. And he says, because, you know, telescopes like the James Webb, because they can see so far into space, it's kind of going into the territory of these other existences where they will feel comfortable showing themselves more to people and proving that their existence is real. Okay, he's saying that don't be surprised if people who... Okay, he says, Kim always says that when she reads cards, she looks through the images on the card. Like, there's people that can see through an oracle card to get into like a deeper message with it. And he's saying that these same people would be able to look at the images that are taken from these newly built telescopes, see through them, and actually see the life they're capturing and not just the images of the spiral galaxies, universes that are going on. Okay, he's saying that there is a YouTube video that I have watched before, I've shown people. He's saying that this YouTube video is talking about the Urantia book, and it's showing the different spheres of heaven. Okay, he's saying that this telescope and these images are actually creating the ability to see the spheres of heaven. Now, he's saying this is not on a 3D level. He's saying that this is like 5D, 6D, 7D, where it's going, he's like, it's perforating or looking through that veil that tends to block a lot of that vision. These telescopes are actually looking through that veil into the different dimensions where people can start to see the spheres of not only the dimension that we're living in, but the dimensions that exist beyond what we're even capable of understanding right now. Okay, so this telescope is basically like, he's saying that there was the Hubble, I think that's it. That's what he's saying. The Hubble telescope. I'm not really, I just like to look at the pictures, but the names I don't know. But he's saying the Hubble telescope, you know, was basically kindergarten. The James Webb Telescope took kindergarten to grade like 6, right? And so that then there's going to be a telescope that will take it from grade 6 to grade 9, 10. And this is Canadian school. I don't know about any other countries. But he's saying that he's really excited, like the excited feeling that he's giving me is because he can see how fast this technology is, you know, how fast it's advancing, that it won't be long before, yes, these telescopes can see potential life on these other planets, but they can actually, you know, cross that divide and see into how life continues on different realms, including after the physical dies and we go off to heaven, he's saying. Okay, so it doesn't always have to deal with, you know, this 3D, 4D technology that people are experimenting with. He says, again, like this is very premature, but he says that the more people grasp the quantum awareness and, you know, like kind of merge it with what has been built through the James Webb Telescope, will be the way that this relationship is formed. So he says, just like the team works with Kim to, he says, we used to call it bridge a gap between heaven and earth, between earth and heaven. He's saying these technologies that are coming, that he's really excited about, will continue to bridge that gap, but not on just a physical level, but on a physical and quantum scale. Okay, and he's saying that when people really dive into the quantumness of the technology is when Earth will be able to match the frequencies of places like the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the Sirians, Venusians, he's saying. He's like, there's a lot of Ians. Match those frequencies and be able to communicate better, you know, through that time and space that we feel separates all of that, you know, from each other. Okay, so he's saying that this telescope, while it will prove life on different planets, how is he putting this? Okay, he's saying what will be the glue that holds it to, okay, he's backtracking. He says, people question why aliens don't introduce themselves. The biggest difference between, you need to stop playing in my kitchen. He's like talking to me, but he's in my kitchen right now. I hear things bumping in my kitchen. Who's in my kitchen? Oh, Paul's in my, okay, he's not in my kitchen, Paul's in my kitchen. Okay, he's showing me he's getting a cup of coffee. Okay, so, I'm all flustered. I'm getting really hyper because he's really excited about this. The one difference between aliens and humans, and we're aliens to them, is that extraterrestrial beings on higher dimension planets have connected with their sovereignty. And he's saying if he could give one message to people about how to invite other life forms to visit this planet, it would be to connect with the sovereignty of self. Okay, he's saying that the alien species out there, and he's not going to go into the conspiracy of the Greys or anything like that, but he says the alien species out there that are trying to come to this planet to help us, that are, you know, connecting with the people that, you know, have these starseed relationships with these people, they have really connected with the sovereignty of self. And through their work with sovereignty of self, they have also been able to recognize the sovereignty of others and respect that and show love towards that and be humbled by that, while others are also humbled, through them. So it's like a shared exchange, he says. Once that dynamic happens on this planet, he's saying, is when those extraterrestrial species will feel more comfortable landing their ships and coming to talk to a human being about their existence. Nika's making herself comfortable. So part of being able to see through the images that we're seeing through these telescopes is really claiming back our sovereignty. He's saying people like to call that personal power. Personal power is kind of like on this level, and sovereignty is on this level. It's so, yes, there are always going to be like people in powerful positions. He's saying, but on other planets, those positions of power aren't so much, they dictate rules, they put down rules, blah, 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 you have to do this and this. It's more of a game of example, of leadership. It's almost like if a leader of a planet out there was this unbelievably loving entity. He's saying like an angel would be, the leader of Earth. That's for example. It's kind of that dynamic where the angel is like this blessed being. They know self-sovereignty, they know self-worth, so much so that they practice that with people. People respect that. And so the angel creates leaders, leaders create leaders. Leaders also don't have that ego, control, fear-based, issues. And they are able to continue to learn from other leaders around them because they recognize the sovereignty within them. He's like, it's almost akin to people bowing down and saying namaste. The higher self in me bows down to the higher self in you, whatever. It's been translated a lot, but he's saying the higher self in me bows down to the higher self in you. Translated a lot of different ways. And that is kind of what these extraterrestrial beings are waiting for that really honest meeting where namaste actually really means namaste. And it's not just something to say. So once people discover or connect with their sovereignty, with the fact that they are their own universe, they are their own galaxy, they are their own being, love that, really accept that, and accept that in others. He's like, in the hardest place to accept sovereignty of self and sovereignty of others is planets like Earth, because they are those dualistic planets where you have such, conflicting, just opposing forces, like just yin yang, just opposing forces. Earth is one of the hardest places to learn sovereignty because we are so caught up in opposition. But once Earth learns, that sovereignty, that ability to be sovereign, it's gonna it's gonna take off. Like he's like saying like comet speed, like light year speed. So it's gonna take Earth from, he's like grade 7, all the way to Masters at University. It's claiming that self-sovereignty. And he says that is really the only thing that is stopping this extraterrestrial experience to not just be viewed by the skies, to not just be viewed like on the off chance you're looking up and you see a spaceship, to maybe the telescopes out there catching an image. It's going to be what brings those extraterrestrials landing on our planet, connecting with the human being, and making plans to cooperate in a way that they can then support our evolution, and take it to that extreme height where, traveling, 20,000 light years in 10 minutes wouldn't be an issue. So he's saying that while the technological advances it's just really, really big, really, really huge, he's saying the one part that is still being worked on is quantum. Now, the quantum field, he's saying, is, and he's talking really fast, so I'm trying to get it all. The quantum field is being looked at. There is something in the quantum field that, while it's known, it's kind of being put aside, and that is the connectivity with all things. He's saying connectivity with all things is also about sovereignty, because while we claim sovereignty for our own beings, and all things claim sovereignty for themselves, there's still that connection, and the connection is quantum, but the connection still has to be loved and respected. And that energy of love and respect, compassion, is all part of the quantum field. Excuse me. He's saying that there's, he's showing me the quantum connectivity. And while it's there, it's kind of like TV static. It's not fully formed. It's not one silver solid thread. It's very like TV static, like old black and white TVs, and it kind of like TV snow, and you always see it. What was that show? The Ring? Whoa, sorry. Like trying to do a spiritual channel. I'm talking about the movie The Ring, where it's like kind of like a static. That connection, he's showing me, that's what the quantum field is like on Earth. That's what he can see. It's underneath that, at the deeper level, that it's that solid. But there's like this film over it. It's like this staticky film. And it's kind of obscuring that connection between people and animals and plants and all of that. As soon, he's like, it's not just technology that's going to make that happen. It's not just technology that's going to take the that static away, that's going to clear that static. He says, because quantum isn't just technology, quantum isn't just physics, quantum is the whole package. He's like, it's what the Dalai Lama wanted to bring the spiritual and the science together. It's that. So the biggest way that we can work on clearing that static is clearing that static away from our quantumness, our quantum fields. Okay. So he's talking about the layer effect, but he's saying it's not just the layer effect that people believe they have to go deep into their own beings to figure out themselves. And I've talked about that in other channels. He's saying the layer effect is actually like the aura energy, the Merkaba energy, the threads that connect not only to everything on earth, but everything in the heavens. It's kind of like that. Sorry, I keep hitting my window. It's kind of like he doesn't know how to, the light language, yeah, but it's like it's not even the aura, it's like the angel halo glow. That is all covered in that black and white static. So it's not just the science that's going to do that, it's also going to be the work that the people do, claiming their sovereignty, claiming their power, while respecting other people, and in that power, finding the love of all. Okay, he's saying that people really crave that. It's like the Vikings and the Greeks and stuff. They want to claim that godlike energy. They want to connect with that godlike energy, and they consider it outside of themselves, when really anything that is God energy is within. Okay, he's saying like the extraterrestrial races around that have connected to that God energy within, without, around. And he's saying it's so close. He's saying that they're gonna do it. They're just waiting for the person to connect with that themselves and take away that static. And he says, I'm sorry if I'm not coming across. He's like, I'm sorry I spoke light language to Kim, and I'm sorry I'm coming across a little bit like excited, and scattered. But he's saying that's exactly the energy that he's feeling from the quantumness on this planet, is that it is scattered and it is very static. But the potential is there, because the potential, he sees it through the images of this telescope. He says your nearest neighbors are the Andromedans, in terms of universes or your galaxies. He says those are your closest neighbors. He's like, so what if you cleared all that away, you could call up your neighbor and say, hey, let's meet. There's a coffee shop in the middle of our galaxies. Let's go meet for a coffee, and then you can go back to Andromeda and I can go back to the Milky Way. He's like, it's like that, right? And he says it's just so exciting for him to see, because this is kind of like a dirty little secret of his, and why he, really loves Star Trek, is because it's all possible. And the fact that, these images have come out, and he looks at these images and he sees what he sees when he looks out the ship with Simon. He says it's almost like this moment where it all comes together for him, where everything just falls into place and everything has that purpose. Okay, he said when he passed away, like when he died, he knew, there was a purpose, there was a meaning for everything, but it just clicked when he saw the images, and he's like, oh my God, people can see what I see every single day. The clarity, the intensity, the colors, like that's exactly what he sees when he's working with Simon. And the fact that people can see what he sees, he's like, it just brings everything to a point where we can meet on some sort of common ground and understand what each other's talking about, and understand that everything is so much bigger than what we perceive. And even though it's so much bigger, he says, there's excitement, because all of a sudden he's like, people are coming out of the boxes that they've been kept in, and there's like the potential for more. And he's saying, that's why he gets so revved up, is because that potential for more will take this James Webb Telescope to a telescope that will see, the life on actual planets, to building FaceTime with other planets, to being able to use your cell phone, he says, to call heaven. And he says that, that broken connection, between heaven and earth is rapidly coming to a point where it can be fixed and it can be bridged. And he says that's why I wanted to come in today, to let people know that with the advances of technology, so too are the advances of, closing that gap, bridging that gap, ending the separation between people and heaven. He says, I would love to prove to people beyond a reasonable doubt that where I continue to exist really does exist. He says he understands the hang-up of that, how people need that validation and they need that proof, and not just be told from some psychic, he's saying, but have the experiences themselves, people are waiting around for ET Martian contact, when really an ET Martian is usually standing right beside them, he's saying. But they can't make that connection because the sovereignty, claiming sovereignty, hasn't begun yet. Okay, he's saying a really, really simple way of claiming sovereignty is listening to Solfeggio frequencies of 528 hertz. He says that those hertz are pretty much the existence of the seat of the soul, the unconditional love, the restructuring of DNA, all of that stuff. He's saying listening to 528 hertz frequencies will help people claim that self-sovereignty, claim that seat of the soul. He says, because if you think about it, people have put in their brains the fact that all the sovereignty, the kings and queens all have thrones. He says, well, the thrones of the human sovereign is the soul. That's the seat of the soul. And so if you can listen to the 528 hertz, claim that seat, picture yourself sitting in that throne, and seeing in your throne room that it's not just your throne room, but there are, 7 billion thrones in that room, and you're all connected as sovereign beings, you will then be able to get to the point. That's really annoying. He's laughing. You will then be able to get to the point where you will begin to see the sovereignty in an extraterrestrial being, and they will feel safer to connect on a human level. He says because extraterrestrials, while they are safe, I mean, they have advances in their physical bodies and their technological advances that we don't. And so they're always safe when they come here. But they want to do it safely for everybody, not just the one person who's trying to connect. It's not just one person. And yes, people have connected with them, but it's not just about one person, it's about the whole of them, right? So yes, people have had ET experiences. There's one guy in Switzerland that talks to the Pleiades all the time. They do channel, ETs and stuff, but the whole goal of an ET is to have the whole of planet Earth accept them and not just the one person. So as excited as we are to make connections that are out of this world, he's saying, so too are ETs very excited to make connections back with family. They miss their family. They miss their starseed children. They miss their light worker children. The angels miss their earth angels. They still, even though that connection is not broken for them, or it is broken for us, and they feel that too, right? And so it's not for selfish reasons that they want these advances of Earth to, happen really quickly. It's because they want to reconnect with lineages as their human selves. It would take the human evolution, if they could learn from evolved beings, it would take the human evolution to another place in time, right? And so he's not just saying he wants to go, these beings, and he even doesn't want to come to Earth as some sort of science experiment. It's more than that. It's deeper than that. And this is why he's so passionate about these advances, and how passionate he is about looking at these pictures and seeing the same things we do, because it's there. It's right at the tip of the tongue. It's right the cherry on top. It's the tip of the iceberg, right? It's just going to flow from that. And so that's why he gets really excited. He says, Kim almost didn't come in channel. She wanted to write this channel, but he says that he didn't really want me to write out the channel because he wanted people to feel his emotion, his excitement about, Earth and just how, he's like, it's just how big it's it's growing and how fast it's evolving, and it's exciting. And he says, sometimes people who don't want to step out of the boxes and see, so he's showing me like a person who's been kept in a box, and the only thing that they've seen are the pictures that they've drawn on the ceiling of their boxes, believing that to be true. And then all of a sudden somebody opens the lid of the box, takes away that picture, and shows them a whole other sky, right? And that's scary for some people, and they want that lid of the box back. They don't want to believe that, anything that they saw was just so limiting, and it's just so overwhelming that they just want to shrink back. And he says there are people that continue to want to do that. There will always be people that want to continue to do that because it's what they know, and they don't want to have that discomfort of growth, right? And he totally understands that. But that's just a small percentage, and they react and they lash out to any sort of alien talk, because it's not because they're being ignorant or mean or negative. It's because they are really, really scared of what could be out there, of what could be so different than what they've taught themselves is. He says there's a lot of guilt and shame connected to opening that up and feeling wrong. And he says, that's part of the reason why people fear the life review, is because they fear that anything that they were led to believe, or they believed themselves on this planet, was wrong. He says, but it wasn't wrong. It was just what you knew at the moment. So if you can understand that it's just what you knew at the moment, there's nothing to forgive, because you only know what you only know. You don't know what you don't know. It's just that thing. So he would like to see people get courage enough to break out of what they've known into what could be. Because once they break into what could be, he says there's no glass ceiling, the sky's the limit, and anything is possible. Yeah, and he understands the fear of it. Yeah, he's making my chest stuffy, which means he's getting a little bit emotional, and he really understands the fear of it. But past that fear is the excitement. Past all of that is the excitement and the reunions that sometimes people only consider to happen after death. He's like, why is it always after death that anything could happen? It doesn't have to be that way. He's like, Earth is at a fork in the road. It's at a turning point. And while the turning point is going to be uncomfortable for a lot of people, through that, through that chosen path that the collective is going to choose to go through, he's like, it's just utter amazement, stupefied, no words, right? So, okay, he's like, and that's it. That's all I wanted to come in and say. He's like, I want to congratulate, the people that worked on that telescope. He wants to congratulate people who are looking at the images. He wants to congratulate people for thinking outside the box and taking the lids off the box. He wants to thank people for, he says, connecting with the seed of the soul. He says he wants to thank those people who are working on the static, who are working on clearing out the static so they can feel the solid quantum lines. He's saying quantum lines. He says he has a lot to say thank you to, because everybody, the collective who has worked on all of this stuff, all of this innovation, all of this, it's like Nikola Tesla kind of stuff, he owes them a huge amount of gratitude, because it's taking humanity from a place where they were very separate and closed off to a place where he can, don't even start, he's gonna make me cry, and don't even start. Where he can actually take somebody's hand and shake it and say, it's nice to see you again. It's really, really nice to see you again. He's like, before I make him cry, I'm going to end it. Yeah, and I have to actually go because I have to vamoose to another chiropractor appointment. So if you guys are feeling pain in your back and stuff, and it's coming from nowhere, get that shit checked out, because there's something to see. Yeah, he's saying if you can get a massage or if you can get chiropractic treatment, that is actually also a way to clear the static of the quantum. And to free things that really you no longer need to hold on to, free that so you can be, he says a cleaner vessel. He's saying a cleaner vessel. All those therapies like acupuncture, massage, chiropractic will release junk. He's saying specifically junk DNA that people still cling to. It's kind of like the covers of the boxes. They still have the boxes covered, and the massage, especially with like the tendons and stuff, the fascia. I was just talking to a massage therapist the other day. The fascia holds on to a lot of like emotion, and Anton is saying it holds on to a lot of dead emotion that still gets triggered once in a while. So that can all be worked out to clean those quantum lines off of the static that we're feeling. And to, release that junk DNA so the hidden DNA will be able to work better. That quantum DNA that scientists can't really, pinpoint yet, that will be able to come up and out and work for us, which creates youth and health and cures and connection and psychic abilities and all that stuff. And he's making me turn really red. I always tease the people who come to the, or complain to the people that come to the intuitive Q&As that, oh, I'm already red, I'm so red. Especially when he just did that little sentence of light language. Like as soon as I speak light language, I get so extremely red. Like it's just so powerful. It's crazy. So he's like, I haven't seen Kim in so long that I just want to sit and talk with her, but I know she has to go. Yeah, I have to go. So, yeah, he's like, Kim, can I come in the car and chat with you? I'm like, yeah, we can come, we can ride together. So I'm going to end it there. I did talk really fast because I was feeling Anton's energy and I wanted to share as much as possible before I had to go get my bones cracked. But it is a really exciting time. And I really give it to people who are really trying to claim that sovereignty. And there's always support in that. I heard somebody saying that it's no longer really time to search out gurus because we are our own guru, which, yeah, he says, Anton's like, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You are your own guru. Start bowing to yourself in the mirror, namaste. It's really time to claim that, wisdom factor, that we are leaders and teachers in our own right. And we actually are very spiritual and are very connected, and validating that for ourselves instead of, searching outward for this guru that will tell you how it's done. Because, yeah, he's saying it's done in so many different ways. To cut yourself a break. He said there's a requirement for more of a supportive teacher, a more supportive coach about what's going on at the moment, instead of coaches, intuitives or whatever, actually just, giving predictions and telling people what to do. He's saying because that takes away the sovereignty, that takes away the personal power and the personal free will of the people that are going for direction. He says he would prefer people talk and not in ways of prediction, but more in ways of potential, because potential is more empowering, self-empowering, and not so, taking away that self-power and self-defeating, because sometimes predictions can be quite self-defeating for people to hear because it's not what they want to hear, right? But usually what intuitives and stuff share with people is what they need to hear. And what you need to hear is usually something that will empower you to make the highest and best choice for you, right? So He's like, Kim, you always he says, you always finish it in a way that's very poetic. I guess Tony was laughing at me after the last one. Okay, so for real, I'm ending it now. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if Paul is even going to try to talk to me about twin flames, there may be a fight, which will be off camera. But in these kind of discussions and arguments with me, he usually wins because it's for the betterment of, everybody out there. But we'll see when and if that happens. So until then, I will talk to you later. Love you, love you, love you.